We had a request of people wanting me to do a video on how to do service by publication. What that means is if you cannot locate your spouse, the court does have an option of serving, quote unquote, your spouse by essentially putting an ad in a newspaper saying a petition was filed on this date. And there's rules that we'll go over. It has to be in the newspaper 30 days and all that. But I want to talk about the severe disadvantages of going this route and why in 11 years of doing this, I have handled one service by publication, and I'm going to go over why. So, as far as the training portion is concerned, this is how service by publication would go down. You would file your summons petition and whatever other forms are for your particular court, get a case number issued. Then you have to file a form FL 980, and this is application for order for publication or posting. Posting means putting it up on the court wall. They're not doing that anymore, so you need to make this as application for order for publication. And then it's pretty much a straightforward form, just a 2-page form. You put the box number 1, publication request. You're saying, hey, we're requesting publication for the following case. Then you have your posting request. You're going to tell the court where you are placing this, what newspaper that you're going to place this with. You're generally are going to be required to place it in what do they call it? A newspaper of general circulation in the city or location you last known the respondent to be in, with the idea that they're going to open up the paper and see that there's a case filed so they can respond to it. Obviously, the likelihood of someone seeing a petition filed is very remote, but that's still the court's process. Box number 3, the legal documents to be served are, you just mark, summons and petition in the box. Now, here's where it gets the most critical part. On page 2, they have section 5D. It says, I have taken the following steps to try to find the respondent. They don't give you any direction, any ideas of what you should do or try to do or anything. You may just end up writing, I didn't try, or, I don't know where he lives, or you might just put something very basic down. Let me give you a look into the window of what you're up against in trying to get these approved. The courts are not wanting to approve these because they want the person to be officially served and given proper notice for the divorce case so they can be involved if they decide to do so. So they highly scrutinize these. Usually, the court's going to make you take so many steps to try and locate your spouse that by taking the steps that they require, you probably will find your spouse. And in the 11 years, as I was saying, I've been doing this, we only did one, and it was probably 10 years ago, because the amount of work that the courts make you, hoops that they make you jump through to locate your spouse will usually turn up finding your spouse, unless, of course, they're dead, and then you'll at least know that as well, and you don't need to go through the divorce process. But we just had someone do this last month, and I said, hey, we can try the publication, but here's all the steps they're going to make you do. And guess what? He found a spouse by taking the steps that the court makes you take. Not only is it a lot to hoops you have to jump through before you can apply for the publication. I lost track because my phone is going off here. But the other downside, what I was going to say, is the amount of time it adds to the process. If you file your divorce case, then you have to turn in the request for publication. That could take a couple of weeks to a month plus for the court to approve. There's a loss of a month. Then you have to put in the newspaper for 30 days, and you have to call and pay that expense, get in the paper, run for 3 days, and then the newspaper will send you a document showing that it was published on this date to that date. Then the date of service of the petition doesn't start at the date of the initial publication date. It also doesn't start at the date of the final date of publication. It actually starts 30 days after the publication ended. So there's another 60 days of delays. So with the order getting approved and the requirement for publication, it's going to add 3 months to your timeline. I will tell you this: always look for your spouse, locate them, get them served. And now I want to go over what you have to do in order to get these approved. And you wouldn't know this, but there's a rejection form. The only way you kind of get a look inside of what the court wants you to do is look at the reject form of what they're saying needs to be done. So this reject form, and you can look it up, is, what is the form number? There is no form number. Oh, here it is. LASC, so Los Angeles Superior Court FAM, as in family, -009. And all courts are going to require this. So this isn't a form that you would file, but you can use this for any court. Excuse me. You can use this for any court because they're going to have the same requirements. So there's probably 12 requirements of what needs to happen before the court will entertain approving your request for publication. So here, I'm just going to go down the form, and here's what's required. It says, number one, provide additional facts and evidence. So this is the reject sheet. Like if you don't do these things, it's going to be rejected. Provide additional facts and evidence to substantiate the need to serve by publication and fulfill the requirements of this rule. Number A, it appears that you may have obtained a valid address. More inquiry on the address in question is required. That's number one. That's just a reject item. B, attempt personal service and provide process service declaration signed under penalty of perjury, including dates and times of attempts of service. So if you say that there's an address for the respondent when you file your paperwork, they're going to want attempts. They're going to want you to hire a process server, and they're going to have to make 3, 4, maybe 5 attempts at different times of the day, different days, and they're going to have to document that and then provide you a proof of service saying that the following actions were taken to attempt to serve your spouse. That's just one issue that's going to be required. C, check all Southern California telephone listings. Okay, so when was this form updated? 2018. So I don't think there's been the yellow pages then, but they're talking about searching online at this point, looking for phone numbers, doing background checks, doing Google searches, doing these lookup. There's some services where you can do some lookups. D, check real property ownership records for all of California. So they want you to run a property records search to show, and then you got a printout showing there is no listing for them. E, check the local post office for change of address information. Submit the attached form to the post office and return the stamped form to the court. So, I mean, you can see how big of a pain in the butt doing all these things would be than just actually finding them. And the reason I bring this up is I think most people who call me and say, I want to do a publication, I think they just don't want to involve the other party. They're thinking this is a fast and easy approach to skip out on having to serve, and it's not.